Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Today we are here with a video on an AFK Nightmare Zone guide for old school RuneScape in my endless adventure to make as many guides as possible. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you do, make sure to leave a like. Also on top of that, got plenty of places you can check myself and my community out down below in the description. I'd recommend it greatly. But with that said, let's go ahead and get on into it. So we'll start with the useful items and important tips here for Nightmare Zone. The first thing is going to be to have as many quests unlocked as humanly possible. The more quests you have, the more monsters you have available to you, the better monsters you can choose for your appropriate dream that you'll be entering into to do your AFK XP gains. So the more the merrier. Even if you don't have a ton of quests done, you can still find a way to operate nonetheless. In addition to that, a rock cake or a locator orb can be very useful for a couple different things. If you're using Darok, that can get you to a very low HP, which is good. In addition to that, if you're using absorption potions, which are something that you can use here to basically negate damage and not have to cost you any money in terms of the game. These will get you to 1 HP, and that way you'll only be hit a 1 and your absorption potions will last longer essentially. And on top of that, you'll need 26k coins for each entry into a dream. For your combats, I'd recommend 60s to 70s so that you have the appropriate gear whenever you're coming here. In addition to that, you'll be able to get some good XP. Before this level, it's typically just better off to go ahead and kill some sand crabs, ammonite crabs, and all that. I'll have guides to those linked on screen if you want to check them out. As far as the XP per hour here, you can get up to 120k with the methods I'll be showing here today. If you're a lower level, of course, it's going to scale backwards. And as far as the points per hour that you can get, that will be anywhere between 150k points to 550k points. Now, this does depend on the monsters you pick for your dream. I'm going to offer a few different choice setups for you, so it kind of depends there. But overall, it's a good mix of points and AFK. For the gear options, first, there is the Darok setup, which is a very, very useful one and one that is commonly chosen for many people. For all these setups, you don't need to have the gear I have here. If you have lesser forms of certain gear, that's perfectly fine as well. But Darok is very useful because here you're not going to be at risk of losing anything, and you can hit massive hits with low HP on Darok. Then we also have the Prayer setup. This one is going to be more beneficial for someone that just wants to AFK longer. With Darok, you do have to pay attention and sort of keep your HP low. With Prayer, you can just throw on Protect from melee and just absolutely throw your feet up and have a grand old time. As far as the weapon choice, it doesn't have to be a rapier by any means. It can be whatever you feel like going with there and whatever you have available on your person. And then for the range setup, I have a maxed out setup with a blowpipe. You can certainly downgrade this. I'd imagine most people will. If you want to bring a magic shortbow with amethyst arrows, I would highly recommend that. That's a great way to save some money and also get pretty comparable XP. In addition to that, instead of Armadillo, if you want to bring your best D-hide, that's perfectly fine as well. But those are three very common options for Nightmare Zone in this method. Nightmare Zone is located to the northeast of Yanille. The best way to get there is through the minigame teleport in your grouping section. You can just pick Nightmare Zone from the drop-down menu and teleport directly there. If you can't do that for some reason, you can also use the Watchtower teleport, or you can use the Yanille house teleport. All viable ways of getting there. So now that we know all that, let's go ahead and talk about the inventory and the boss setup. So we have a locator orb right here, or a rock cake. Pick whichever one you have. If you have a locator orb, definitely bring that. That knocks down 10 HP, while a rock cake, if you eat it, only does 1, or if you guzzle it, it does 10% of your HP. I also have a special attack weapon. If you're going to be super AFK, you don't need to bring this, but if you're going to pay a little bit of attention, then you may as well. You could bring Dragon Claws if you like also. Then I have a bunch of overloads that you can get from the Nightmare Zone area. If you don't have overloads yet, or if you don't have any Nightmare Zone points, go ahead and just bring some super combats or super boosting potions of some sort. In addition to that, I have a ton of absorption potions. I'd recommend these, but if you don't have that, feel free to bring prayer potions as an alternative. So now that you're in Yanille and you found your way on over, let's go ahead and stop on by the shop over here. So there's an absorption potion area that you can take from or store over there, along with an overload section and a super ranging and super magic. You can get those potions through the reward shop in here. There's a ton of things that you can buy from. Really, the only thing to buy from in here of note is the herb boxes or the scrolls of redirection. The herb boxes are the best item to buy if you're trying to turn your Nightmare Zone points into cash. However, you can only buy so many per day, so there's a cap on that. Scrolls of redirection are good for teleporting to other player-owned house locations if your house is not currently located there, so that's a nice little quality of life thing for the game. There's also an upgrade section where you can upgrade all of the possible imbues that you can get through Nightmare Zone. I'll throw the wiki list up on screen now, and you can give that a peek and see what you might need. And then there are also the benefits section over here where you can buy all the different potions that I showed previously. Overloads and absorptions are really the only ones you want to concern yourself with. Again, if you don't have those yet, just bring prayer potions and you'll be good to go. So once you're ready, go ahead and talk to Dominic Onion, use the dream option, and then go to Rumble and do a customizable hard rumble, and this is going to cost 26k. Make sure you throw some money on in this coffer right here. I have a little bit already, so we'll be good to go. Once you have all that done, then go ahead and drink from this potion, and then you will be asked to choose your boss list, and we will go ahead and talk about that now. So there are going to be a few different setups that we can talk about in regards to the bosses. If you're coming here with prayer potions for the first time, or you're just deciding to use prayer potions anyways, then this is the list you're going to want to go with. Here, I've decided to get some of the range and mage-based monsters out of here. That way, you won't have to worry about taking any damage while you're in here. And this is just to maximize your AFK and you're not really caring about points. If you have absorption potions, then this is the list that you're going to want to be going with for your AFK options. If you don't have a couple of the bosses I've shown in the last two lists, that's perfectly fine. We'll go to the third list, which is the AFK plus points option. And essentially, everything in this list is labeled from best to worst. The best are on the top left and the worst are on the bottom right, and it just goes in order of that. Pick out the best ones that you have available to you, and this list is going to be one that requires an absorption potion because there are a lot of monsters on here that use range or mage, so keep that in mind. But this list is good for people that want to AFK but also want to get a good amount of points. So if you're just kind of getting started here and you don't mind not having the best XP, then this list is going to be much more helpful. Essentially, depending on your level, you'll get between 5 to 10k less XP per hour. However, instead of getting 150k points or so, you'll get closer to 400 to 500k, and so that's going to be much more helpful for you if you're looking for points and also trying to take it easy and not do the sweaty Nightmare Zone method that's also available. I'll link that up on screen now if you want to check that out. If you really care about points, that's a really great way to go about that. Then there's also this specific boss setup for range if you're going to be going about that method as well. So go ahead, pick whatever one works best for you, accept your dream list, and then head on in. If you're using absorptions like I am here, then you're going to want to fuel your locator orb or guzzle from your dwarven rock cake. This takes down 10% of your HP, while the locator orb just takes down 10 HP every time. Make sure to drink an overload before you get too low. That way you can actually get your boosted stats. And then once that's starting to go, then go ahead and get yourself down the rest of the way. Right now I'm about to go from 1 HP to 2 HP. An easy way to make that not happen is to use the rapid heal. Just flick it real quick. I didn't do it in time, so it did not work. Make sure to drink up on your absorption. You can also just fuel the locator orb again or guzzle from the rock cake to get yourself back to 1 HP. Either way works. And then from there, make sure to get all of your absorptions going. I like to do this little method where you can just click 4 at once and just spam between them. Much more easy to go about that. If you want to save yourself a little bit of absorption potions, you can stand in a corner. That way you can only be attacked from 2 different angles rather than being attacked from all sides if you're standing out in the open. If you care more about XP rather than saving some absorption potions, then you could just stand in the middle, and that way the monsters won't have to walk as far to get to you. It's really up to you on how you want to go about that. And then from there, make sure you're training whatever attack style works best for you, while also using your locator orb or guzzling from your rock cake to get back down to 1 HP whenever needed. You don't really have to pay too much attention to it, but the more you do, the longer you'll be able to stay here on these trips. And the only other thing of note is the power-ups that can appear in here, so we'll go ahead and talk about those. The best one, in my opinion, is the Power Surge, which is why you bring a special attack weapon here. This basically gives you unlimited special attack, giving you 20% special attack per game tick. So that is very helpful. You can just spam your G-Maul or spam your Dragon Claws, whatever you want to come here with, maybe even a Dragon Dagger, really up to you. Then the rest of the orbs aren't too useful for the AFK method. We have the recurrent damage, which essentially doubles your hits. The second hit that it will create for you will be 75% of your first, so you'll deal a lot more damage. However, if you're trying to AFK, I mean, you really don't need to use it. It will give you more points per hour, but do you care? That's a question you got to answer yourself. Zapper also does small consistent damage to all the monsters in the room, and so this is kind of nice. However, again, not really that useful. Then the last one is the Ultimate Force, which kills all the bosses in the room. This is really only useful if you have annoying bosses you don't want to kill, which in this scenario where we've created a list of monsters you want to kill, that's not the case, so you can just write that one off entirely. So yeah, that is going to be it for the Nightmare Zone guide. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Anything you'd like to tell me or others, would love to see it in a comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as they go live, make sure to subscribe. Also, as I mentioned previously, plenty of places you can check myself, my Discord, the community out down below. But with that said, hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and peace.